think we started the last one singing the Pokemon theme song. We can't do that again.
Gotta catch them all, gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all, gotta catch them all.
See, I would do that, but I don't have the entire Poké Rap memorized.
I don't either.
I'm a bad Pokemon fan. I didn't spend my childhood memorizing the entire original Poké Rap.
How dare you? It's such a disappointment. You know?
Yeah, well, this week on Off the Shelf, we read the yellow arc of the Pokemon Adventures manga.
Which covers book 2 and, like, into book 3.
Yeah, something I noticed with these arcs for the special editions are they'll cut into the next volume. So there's never really a clean cut outside of that first book.
That's not surprising.
Yeah. I didn't want to start you on the third arc, because it's just like, that feels like an abrupt end when it's easier just to cut there and we're already doing so much.
Yeah.
So we're only reading the yellow arc of Adventures. We didn't go into Gold and Silver at all.
Yeah, just the yellow arc. And can I say that I look at Brock and I am reminded of Fergus McRoy.
They've both got the closed eye design.
I don't know, man. They've just, like, morphed into, like, one entity inside of my skull. You know what I mean?
And they both hit on women, too.
Yeah. And the dude with the lance. Oh my fucking god, Lance. Lance's Dragon Squad. He's so, like cool and cocky.
Emo and edgy.
Yeah, with his little Dragon Squad. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I will say, so, you know, having recently streamed, semi-recently, you guys aren't going to see this until, you know.
It was within the last week that she streamed this, like, streamed
the Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah.
I will say, I do think maybe so the fight scenes in the manga are obviously a lot more dynamic than fights in the games. But also, they tend to, like, and I guess I didn't think about this before, but damn, do these fights drag in the manga because they are more dynamic. Like, you have a chunk of pages like that big and it's all one fight. Like, it is a lot. It's even more than I'm used to in, like, my shonen manga, and I hadn't really thought about it before, but Jesus, the fights go on.
I do have to admit, so this arc, definitely the fights go on much longer. Like, in the previous arc, there are fights that could be over within a couple panels.
Yeah.
This arc, this is kind of their bigger fight arc. Because, like, everything in this arc is fight, move to the next area, fight, move to the next area, fight.
Yeah.
There's more... Because in the previous arc, there was more time, like, there were chapters, like, where Red just enters a race.
Whereas here, it's just fight after fight after fight after fight, and some of them are really long, so it...
And part of that might be that this arc in particular is not adapting a new game. It's instead following up to do a more Pikachu-focused arc to tie into Yellow, which released when this arc was coming out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it, but dang. You know what I mean?
Like, this did catch me, too, when I was rereading it.
Yeah.
The story here is actually kind of sparse.
It really is. I didn't pick up much, if at all, because it was just so much in terms of just going from fight to fight. It felt like it would, like, literally a fight, and then, like, a single conversation, and then another fight. Which is not necessarily a problem, but I'm very glad that it's not going to stay like this, because I think if it did...
Because normally they have other stuff they can include from... Like, they have more game areas they could play with, they have the gym challenge they can either choose to touch on or not.
Yeah.
Here they didn't have that, they just had the vague, Red is missing, we need to deal with it, and it kind of becomes a weird... Like, more so in the original, it leans even more into, like, the shonen battle manga kind of format. And I don't think that... rereading it now as an adult, it doesn't work as much for me. When I was younger, I do like the twist that Red's, like, missing. Like, I do like that twist.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I'm more excited for Johto, though, next.
Just because there's going to be... They have a lot more to chew on there.
Yeah. I struggled a bit with this one. Like, there were a few times where I almost caught myself just, like, fanning through fight pages because nothing was happening. I mean, the art's nice. It's, like I said, dynamic fights, so, like, the art looks good, but...
Well, that entire, like, back volume there, that is all one giant-ass fight.
Everything in Volume 3 I read was one large fight.
it's the climactic fight, but like we're cutting between like 3 or 4 different groups here, and Red is suddenly back, and they don't really have a crazy, satisfying explanation for what's going on.
No, it's almost a little disappointing.
I didn't mind our new main character. She was fine.
No, she's fine.
It's just we didn't get to do much with her, and a lot of like they do so much of the like all the plot twists occur in a fight, so it's really easy to just kind of glaze over them.
Because that's fucking Yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I barely interacted with Yellow at all in like the equivalent of what, like 5 books?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I really got almost nothing with Yellow. The most interesting characterization in 2 volumes was Pikachu and Caterpie being friends after their fight and like cuddling together and thinking about good food.
They started trying to characterize Yellow early on, like where she didn't want to evolve her Pokemon. Yeah. You could tell she was adept at interacting with Pokemon, but not necessarily
but
into it.
This was the best character moment.
Yeah.
And it was Pikachu and Caterpie thinking and talking to one another about like food and stuff. In the volumes, in my opinion. I loved Pikachu and Caterpie interacting. And that went on for like, 4 pages or so, and it was great. Speaking as someone who really likes the Pokemon. Yeah. I will say I did like the
club, the Pokemon fan club president.
The Pokemon fan club president was hilarious. And it was kind of nice to see like little hints at kind of different things that will be coming up later,
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about the Elite Four, which came up later, obviously, in the arc.
Yeah.
That's good foreshadow. I mean, they did good, like, kind of seeding the ideas in for what was going to happen later, but
I think the arc was at its strongest earlier on.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like the fights dragged nearly as much at the start.
No.
And earlier on, they spent a lot more time building up the Elite Four as a menacing threat. But as time goes on, it really does just evolve into non-stop fights by the end.
Yeah, repeated fights. And that's not necessarily a problem, but it doesn't make for very interesting reading. Like, I would have loved to see this as, like, an anime.
Maybe, like, this could make for some good Sakuga.
Yeah, like, I could see this being a really interesting anime to watch or, like, game to play through, but with the sheer amount of fights in this arc, it did not make for compelling reading.
Mm-hmm.
So, here and there. I still like it, but I definitely liked Volume 1 so far. Volume 1 more so far.
Yeah, Volume 1 felt a little bit better paced, maybe? I don't know if paced is the better word. It just felt like it had more of an idea of what it was doing going in.
Mm-hmm.
Here, like, it felt like it was flying by the seat of its pants more often than not.
Yeah. Which, once again, is not necessarily a problem, but, for something that, like, when published in normal manga would have covered, like, 4 to 5 volumes, I mean, that's a lot of time to just be doing repeated tournament arcs. And I get that it's kind of like it
wasn't a tournament arc. It was just long, like...
I know, but I mean, like,
repeated fights.
Yeah, like, even in some of the other shonen I read, like, the fights don't last, like, 4 volumes. You know what I mean?
Well, this one, the fight didn't last 4 volumes.
But the arc is the equivalent of, like, 4 to 5 volumes.
5 volumes.
Right?
Equivalent.
And, like, 2 of those are just solid fights.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
2 of those, like, the climax would have taken up about 2 volumes.
Yeah, and that's just solid fight. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm being picky.
No, I agree. I think I've seen recently, like, this is the first time I've revisited this arc since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've seen recently people generally be a little bit more negative on this arc.
Yeah, I don't want to be super negative because I still think it's interesting and I'm enjoying it quite a bit in terms of, like, actually getting to read it and stuff, and I'm liking the art, but I'm definitely looking forward to the next arc in the hopes that it will be different. And also that flying Pokemon sounds cool. Like, legendary flying Pokemon. That sounds cool, so I'm excited for that.
Alright, well, I guess that's about it for today.
Yeah, so we'll be back with the next arc, which is...
Gold, Silver, and I don't know if I'm going to have you... I have to see how it splits as I reread it. I'm not sure if I'm going to have us read the entirety of Gold, Silver, and Crystal, but because it's all one longer arc.
Well, I would be willing to.
Let me see what the pacing looks like here.
Okay. All right. So we'll be back next time with more manga to review. Like, comment, subscribe.